coffee brewing as the sun peeks through the haze. Birds are chirping, serenading morning's praise. Front porch creaks as dreams fade away. America's awakened to a brand new day. Old vinyl spinning a sweet old tune. Day starts dancing under a sleepy moon. Loose print smudges on fingers of grace. America's awakened at her own steady pace. Sips of sunshine in a coffee cup. Simple moments lifting spirits up. From the mountains to the sandy shore. Morning in America, want just a little more. Neighbors waving with a friendly rise. Kids with backpacks chasing daylight skies. Eyes cooling on a windowsill so fine. America's awakened with a heart full of shine. Old vinyl spinning a sweet old tune. Day starts dancing under a sleepy moon. Newsprint smudges on fingers of grace. America's awakened at her own steady pace. Sips of sunshine in a coffee cup. Simple moments lifting spirits up. From the mountains to the sandy shore. Morning in America, want just a little more. Neighbors waving with a friendly rise. Kids with backpacks chasing daylight skies. Eyes cooling on a windowsill so fine. America's awakened with a heart full of shine. Neighbors waving with a friendly rise. Kids with backpacks chasing daylight skies. Eyes cooling on a windowsill so fine. America's awakened with a heart full of shine. Tractors rumble, fields coming alive. Big wheels turning where hopes and dreams strive. Laughter echoes down the old dirt road. America's awakened to lighten her load. America's awakened to lighten her load.
Whoa, my thing is, it got turned. I didn't even realize that. Good morning. Good morning. I hope you're all doing well today. And right now, I'm only seeing two people in the chat, which may be possible, but I'm not seeing any comments. So I'm just going to check here to make sure that Restream isn't messing up, because that does happen. It does happen. Okay, yeah, I'm not missing out on any chat. So I just shared everything out. So it's going to take a little bit for people to get in here. But I hope you're all doing well. Oh, this thing. There we go. Hey there, Georgie. How's it going? Oh, we got Tammy in here this morning. Good morning, Tammy. They were talking about you yesterday, right? Because they kept talking about Tammy, and I was like, well, I've got Tammy's in my chat. Is that the same one? Iowa, good morning. Lady Jen, good morning. Sharon, good morning. I hope you're all doing well. I am, I'm very calm this morning. I'm not stirring up any BS or anything like that. But yeah, it's just been a calm, quiet morning for the skipper this morning, which is okay. I did see that a comedian passed away. He goes by Ski Mask Collective, and apparently he hey TC, apparently Ski Mask Collective passed away from cardiac failure, and that happened because he was trying to quit drugs cold turkey. And the thing about that is Ski Mask runs in a certain crowd of um, comedians. He's a good friend of two comedians, or actually three, uh, Gino Bisconti and his wife, Keanu Thompson, who's a comedian, but really she's more of an OnlyFans model. He was very close to them. He also ran with Chrissy Mayer and her husband, Frank. They all like had this circle. And I watched their shows up until probably 2022, and that's when I started noticing patterns with them. They are they are alcoholics and drug users, like straight up addicts. And here's why that matters. Okay. Uh, so you have Ski Mask, who just passed away, trying to quit drugs cold turkey. They were the ones who started hanging out with Rakita Law. And not long after they started hanging out with Rakita Law is when they actually were the ones who introduced him with Aaron from Steel Toe. And Aaron and his wife started swinging with Rakita Law and his wife. But that's also when the signs of cocaine with Rakita Law started showing up on stream. Um, Gino is a good friend of mine, Tread Easy. Well, I know you like him, Tommy, and you know I don't. It's not that I don't like him. I don't like that he's an alcoholic. And I found out from Gino yesterday, but didn't sat anything. Yeah. Um, but that's and that's been the problem is you're seeing all these people within that circle. Uh, they're all into drugs. They're all into drugs. They're all addicts. And that's why you're seeing a lot of the negative behaviors out of them. Um, and yeah, so another one of them was clearly on drugs and has passed away. Sad situation. Um, and I like Larry Bayard, and he's been on the show, and he's friends with them, but I don't get the sense that Larry is doing any type of drugs. You can normally spot the behaviors. And that's why, even though I used to be fans with him, that's why I very strongly walked away. And I've encouraged publicly Nick Rakita to get help. Um, and with that, it's just this. It becomes with drugs, it becomes incredibly toxic, negative, and just goes into a really bad downward spiral. And you're seeing it. You we've been seeing it, but we're continuing to see it. And there's a couple others out there who hopefully this ends up. It's a shame someone had to die, but hopefully some of the others in that circle now wake up and realize, oh yeah, th- these things are that are a problem. So, um, yeah, thank God you got sober. Absolutely, Tommy, and you've experienced it. Um, but yeah, so I wanted to mention that it's a sad thing that someone lost their life, but yeah, we it's something I've been talking about for a while. That circle, and really the most toxic ones of it, I believe, is Chrissy and her husband. Uh, her her husband is definitely toxic. Uh, he was going after fans of a lot of these people years ago when they would just give criticism, and that's never good. That they actually killed a whole network, and that's when it started. You can't do that. So I wanted to address that because I saw that it was going on online, and just a shame, just a complete and total shame. But you know, people have to be responsible. Yeah, I have to drink to do shows with Skipper. Absolutely, TC. We're gonna need to get you some help. But Yeah, and people, some people got mad at me when I was pointing out that, oh yeah, yeah, with some of these people, and the thing is, I know Megan Fox knows and likes a lot of these people, which I think Megan is smart enough to not get into drugs. Um, but yeah, you're seeing it again. You're seeing it again. It's cycles, it's patterns. I deal with this with veterans who have um, mental health issues. They get in these spirals, and it's never a good thing, and only they can break the cycle. Um, yeah, I told you, Georgie, we can talk today. Um, but oh, you're in recovery, lady Jen. Well, congratulations on the recovery, and stick with your sobriety. Um, yeah, I've seen incredibly smart people get into drugs and make the dumbest decisions. So I just wanted to address that because it's something happening. And you know, I point out, the when you start seeing the patterns never lie. Like when I was getting harassed by my ex and her boyfriend way before the attack, I kept telling officials aboard the base, at what point do these things stop being a coincidence? Coincidences rarely actually happen. The coincidences are happening a lot of times because that's the pattern. It's being set up. Like when when I was working in safety, I used to say that uh, close calls are God's warnings, and people, you can either listen to it or not. And I used to go to my sections and ask, "Have you had any close calls?" And when you have a group there and you're at their safety meeting, hey, have we had any close calls this week or last week? Oh yeah, so and so almost dropped this, and I'm like, okay, that's a warning sign. That is a warning sign. God is warning you. Whatever you're doing, you need to fix it. Um, so I don't really believe in coincidences. In fact, when you start talking to people like real investigators, it's not a coincidence. There's actually a pattern that's causing these things to occur. Uh, so yeah, I don't. If you show me a bunch of drug addicts, I'm going to show you there's a pattern that they go through. That they won't be able to hold a job. They won't be able to. They'll have all this discontent in their life. And with my PTSD, I was guilty of it at one point. I had a hard time uh, finding a good quality job. I uh, had issues in my life. Luckily, I had a veteran friend who was like, "You have PTSD," and I was like, "You really think so?" And it's funny because I was talking to my therapist yesterday, and it was our normal appointment, and she was like, we were talking about a couple things that have been going on. She's like, "You're doing really well with everything," and she's like, "I really like talking with you because I don't get to say that with all my clients." And I said, "You know, I think early on when I was told I had PTSD, I was I said, you know what? I'm going to go for help because if I do have this, I left the Marine Corps because I was angry and I didn't want the Marines to deal with an angry officer. It's not a good thing. Um, the officers should be the happy ones. They really should because they're the ones in charge. And if the guy in charge is not happy, nobody's happy. And I knew I wasn't happy, so that's why I got out. And I had I didn't want my son to deal with me being unhappy. And I thought I was unhappy with the Marine Corps. Turns out it was PTSD. So when I was told that, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go for help. I'm gonna try everything. I don't care. And there were things I tried that I was like, yeah, this is like they had me try yoga. One doctor did. One doctor, I tried Reiki. Reiki wasn't bad. It was relaxing. I don't think it did a lot for me, but it wasn't bad. Yoga, I was just like, this really isn't doing anything for me. Um, like I've people tell you to work out. Uh, that doesn't help me with my anxiety attacks because the adrenaline that you get actually ramps me up and makes it harder for me to calm down. But I tried it all. And that was the thing. I gave it an honest effort. Like, not only did I try it, I was like, I am going to do this. I tried medication. They gave me meds. I was like, okay, I will legitimately do this. The meds really didn't do much. Really, they didn't really affect me too much, at least from what I could tell. And I eventually had my doctor be like, "Do you think they're doing anything?" I was like, "They really don't. I don't feel any different." And they were like, "Well, if you don't want to keep on it, you know, as long as you keep on with therapy, yeah, I think it's okay." And the therapy it absolutely does help me. Um, but I wanted to be the best dad possible for my son. And that was always my driver. So I didn't have to hit a rock bottom. Uh, and I'm very thankful for that. I'm also very thankful that I worked at stuff. Now I'm a pretty calm individual. Pretty calm. Good morning, Voss. Good morning, Heroes Chris, Harry. Is there anyone else I missed on my little rant there? Greg, good morning. Fun laughter, good morning. Okay. Sharon, good morning. I think I said good morning to Sharon, but just to make sure. But yeah, so I don't believe in coincidences. When you start seeing coincidences, it's actually more it's a symptom of a pattern. And you know, I was on depression medication, made me worse. I was crying all the time. And yeah, and I'm prone to depression. I absolutely am. It's getting better, but I am very prone. That is one symptom of my PTSD. And I'm very in tune with my feelings. If I start feeling depressed, there are things I'll tell you. Cleaning is the best thing if I start getting depressed. If I start feeling depressed, I will go through and clean my house. And just having things organized and cleaner makes my brain feel better. The other thing I'll do is I'll force myself to go out in public. I'll go somewhere even if it's uncomfortable. I will do it so that I don't get depressed. I thankfully don't have anxiety to where I can't be in a group of people. I can go to concerts, I can go to theme parks and be totally fine. A lot of people around me does not bother me. I know it bothers some with PTSD. Um, and it's funny because I can always tell people who are faking PTSD because they always go with the Hollywood symptoms, but never the real symptoms. And that's a big symptom. Not being able to go out in public or be around groups. That's a big symptom of PTSD. I'm thankful I don't have it. Um, yeah, never. So there are some symptoms I don't have anymore, but that was never one that I had. So I'm thankful. Um, the one that I know every single person I know with PTSD, I can't find a one that doesn't have it is insomnia. Just across the board. And it's also probably the one that causes the most problems, to be honest. It's the one that drives a lot of veteran substance issues. They'll drink to go to sleep. They'll do drugs to go to sleep. I got something on my leg. Hmm. Hope it's not skin cancer. When I start feeling depressed, I come in and talk to y'all or pick on Lady Jen or Georgie or just reach out. We're okay. It is good to talk to people. And everyone needs their sounding boards. That you need a friend, someone that you trust. I shouldn't say friend, someone you trust that you can talk to. And here's the other thing: make sure they're an honest broker. Uh, do not go with a yes person. They can increase your cycle of negativity. Go with someone who's going to be completely and totally honest with you and say no. No, like you're wrong. Melatonin is my friend. Melatonin is good. You can't use it every night. Your body, it's a vitamin. Your body will adjust to it. Um, you want to come on? Yeah, absolutely. Here, hold on. Boom. And going to Facebook. There you go. Feel free to come on. Come on down. You're the next contestant on The Price is Right. Um, I need this topic more than ever. Well, I mean, yeah. And that's and here's the other thing. Have more than one person to talk to. I probably have 5 or 6. Dr. Kevin, who was on the show, he's one of my people that I talk to because he's used to listening to people. Uh, we bonded over stuff, and so he is one that, yeah, I talk to. Hey there.
Hi, bestie.
Good morning.
I'm an emotional train wreck.
Well, aren't we all?
More than usual, though.
But yeah, like, and what I always encourage people is go for solutions. Do not go for a band-aid. Talking to someone, it's great. It is great. But try things. A lot of people with PTSD refuse to try things. They refuse to try medications. Well, medications don't work. Oh, what did you do? What medications? I tried this one. Have you tried others? No. Well, you know what? Everyone's brain chemistry is different. Try other stuff. Because you never know which one works. And when you find things that work, like for me, spray paint art videos. Um, spray paint art videos, they will absolutely calm me. But what you want to talk about this, Georgie?
Well, I've been
This
leaning
topic?
on I've been leaning on TC a lot lately, and he's teaching me how to cope better with the bipolar and PTSD.
See, I don't get bipolar from you.
Yeah, apparently neither does he.
Yeah,
But that was the diagnosis I was given.
I would talk with another. Um, yeah, I would talk with another doctor about that because I know people who are bipolar, and I just don't get it from you. I don't even get a personality disorder from you.
Hmm.
And I know several people with BPD. And I'm not saying that you don't have things. I think you definitely have trauma.
Oh yeah,
Like you definitely have that.
like still living in it.
Yeah. Yeah, you're like me. You cannot remove the stressors from your life.
Oh.
But yeah, and I'm pretty good at like pointing out people with personality disorders. There's been a couple veterans where I'm like, where they'll come to me and be like, I've got PTSD, and as I work with them, I'm like, I think you might have something more than PTSD. Like you got PTSD, but I think you might have something more. And then they get diagnosed with a personality disorder, and it's like, okay, yeah, it's not a bad thing.
Yeah, when I was first told I had bipolar, I flipped out. I was like, I'm not fucking crazy. Because that's
True.
the stigma on bipolar is, oh, they're crazy.
Eh, Bipolar, you'll go through manic episodes, and I don't see you going through manic episodes.
Oh, but I do.
Uh,
You know
Well,
those
even if
days
you,
when I'm telling you I'm like super cleaning or I'm actually working on a project. Those are my manic days.
oh, but I don't like. Okay, and but I don't see where it's like bad. Like
I
if you
hide it.
have bipolar, it's a yeah, TC. Bipolar is often a lazy way to address issues. I totally agree. I think I think some doctors throw it around way too much just to get people on meds.
I don't disagree. I've had multiple therapists ever since I was a kid. Some say I was bipolar, some say it was something else, uh, and then my recent therapist said did some type of test on me and said, "Yeah, you're bipolar and PTSD." But like
If
I
you're
was telling you on
bipolar, it's
Sunday,
not a
they keep
severe case
bouncing me. Yeah. Well, they keep
because
bouncing me back and forth. You have PTSD, it's CPTSD, it's this, it's that. Just
it's
give me a
PTSD.
freaking diagnosis and treat me at this point, please.
It's
'Cause I,
PTSD at the end of the day. Um, but yeah, like you don't. I don't see major mood swings out of you. Like, and I'll tell you, like people with bipolar, you know, I've seen them where like I'm the greatest guy in the world to them, and the next time I see them, they're completely ambivalent to me. I don't see that with you. Like, yeah, you'll be depressed, but we still talk, and you know, like it really our communication level hasn't changed. Um,
I
so
had
yeah,
extreme highs and lows, but with my online life, I try to mask it, hide it. Like, I have not been in the right state of mind for several weeks now, but as soon as the show we hit go live, I completely flip into the happy go lucky personality that I have to have on show.
hmm
But that's not me.
so CPTSD, it is distinctive. It needs different help, but it's still you still get the same treatments that you would for PTSD. It's just you're going to get more of them and a little bit more aggressive.
It's still the flashbacks, it's still the nightmares.
Yeah, sometimes it's very hard to speak out of fear. Yeah, and the other thing I've seen with that is for some people it's hard to for them to speak simply because they have to deal with some very hard truths about themselves. And that was even true of me. I had to face things about myself I did not like, but it does get better. Um, are there any things you've found are calming or like really do help you?
The whole designing and working with writing the music and stuff is that's my therapy. Like,
Mm.
it's the only thing that soothes me. That's why I'm always on the freaking computer.
You know, maybe I don't see the manic depressive in you, mainly because of you have tiny man, and as a mom, you force yourself to be a mom.
Yeah.
And believe it or not, things like our kids can actually push us to fight through stuff.
They're the only reason I'm still breathing.
Oh my God, Tommy, I'm looking at the picture that you posted of the rock painted to look like a finger that someone left along a trail. That's hilarious.
It doesn't help that you live in constant fear. Like, still constantly living in survival
Mhm.
mode.
Oh, absolutely. I agree with that. I can also see like it can be really difficult when you feel like you're walking on eggshells. Cooking with TC is therapy.
It really is.
I'm telling you, I think you two should do a cooking stream. I think that would be fun.
He asked you earlier if you wanted to do something Saturday.
I mean, I'll have no problem doing a stream. I didn't see that, so I do apologize. Yeah, I have no problem doing a stream. If you're looking for Skipper to cook, oh yeah, that could be bad.
You can make the drinks.
That I can do. I can do the vet cocktails, which I do need to do more of those. My diamond painting helps me shine bright like a diamond.
Hi, boo boo.
Can I show my new merchandise that I'm going to put up?
Yeah, it's your show. I'm just here.
I'd like to see everybody's take on it. How's that for a new?
Oh my God! You actually designed.
I told my buddy, he was laughing. He goes, "That's so stupid." I go, "I know."
But it's so you.
But I can see people, people like
You need a
the.
bigger dolphin though, because it all blends together. It just looks like a blob with a tail.
I can make him bigger. I just want him to look like he was sitting at the table.
Because like his head and his body kind of blends together. You can't fully tell it's a dolphin.
Well, you can because you see it's a porpoise.
TC said no one wants your Jiffy cornbread.
Georgie needs a service animal. They are a blessing in so many ways. I could see where
I
one
just
would
need to
help
be
her.
free. That's what I need.
Freedom. I should put that on the soundboard. Mel Gibson from Braveheart.
I did get an email from my church last night. I have been signed up. The church did it for me. I will be getting baptized on August 16th.
Oh, nice. Can I ask what type of church?
It's just it's not one religion. It's
Non-denominational.
That's the word we're looking for.
First off, before we get into that, would you buy this shirt? So just
yeah.
let me know in the chat if you would buy that shirt if I post it. Okay.
Speaking of showing off designs, can I show off the TC's design that I've been working on?
Absolutely, you can. But I'm going to ask you
so proud of it.
I'm going to ask you some religious questions now.
Fuck.
Your church, is it like one of the new age church with like a rock band?
Yes.
Is your pastor like the bassist, and does he have like gel in his hair? And
oh my God! Well, luckily we are in the country. However, you call the gel. Well, he's kind of bald. He's got the army crew cut, so it's like that natural spike, once those little army cuts get grown out too long, and it naturally just goes poof. But it's the button ups, the blue jeans, the boots. It's come as you are. There's no judgment. It's literally love. They don't care who you are, where you come from, your background. There's so many different types of people there. There's addicts that have gotten clean. There's veterans. There's the bougie people. It's all walks of life. It's a very loving community. Now, I attend online because mom life,
Mhm.
but
I see. I just asked that just because that's like the new thing is with a lot of these churches. The pastor who you know used to be a rock star or wants to be a rock star
rabid farmer.
coming on naked.
Sounds like Mikey too. But at the same time, you don't have to come to church in person. They have the online service at the exact same time as the in person service.
Mhm.
I'm not fully awake.
Oh no, you're fine. I make like my friend goes to a non-denominational church, and she i- since I've known her, she's converted 3 different times. Um, and again, it's a veteran with PTSD. That's part of her cycle. She's looking for family, to be honest. And but she's currently going to a non-denominational church, and I said the same things to her because she also likes to watch the show The Righteous Gemstones, which I find absolutely hilarious. And that show kind of is making fun of like Joel Olstein kind of thing, with
Yeah,
churches that are out to make money. Um,
it's not like that.
yeah, I find that
There
show
are a
funny.
lot like that though.
Oh, absolutely. And she was in church the one day and I was texting her like a lot of those same questions. I'm like, okay, is there someone there that does this? And she's like, oh my God, there is. She was literally in church. She's like, I gotta put my phone away. You're making me laugh. And she's like, this is scary accurate.
Well, I mean, usually when I'm watching church service on Sunday mornings, you're in my DMs, and I'm like, I cannot concentrate. So she's not the only one you do that to, apparently.
Well, and for me, I've always been fascinated with religion. Um, always. And yeah, for me, I'll just come at it from you know an aspect of and I can even make fun of. I was raised Catholic. I can make fun of Catholics all day long. We're the one religion that it's like all the other Christian
Jesus.
religions are like, oh, you shouldn't drink, you shouldn't gamble. Catholics, we're like, hey, we got bingo and a beer tent. You coming?
Bingo in a beer tent. Oh, that's different. Well, it's like I was raised Southern Baptist. You want to talk about trauma from a church? That completely turned me off from religion completely. I went from
Was
one
this
extreme to another back to
were you a
finally
member of the
Christianity.
Westboro Baptist?
What?
They're a Southern Baptist church.
Uh, the one I was raised in was my grandfather's church. Like, he literally built the church. He was the pastor there. But Baptists are mean
They can be. They can be.
and very judgmental.
But I run into Catholics who can be mean, just as mean. Um,
I agree. My mother-in-law is a wicked bitch of the West, and she's Catholic. Good
the
morning, Brett
children
and
really good.
Therese.
I got a good friend of mine, and he's a Marine, and he's just like me. Like when I say just like me, we're both pieces of shit. And but he's like I go to Bible study with him every once in a while, and but he goes every week, and yeah, he watched The Chosen. He's been trying to get me to watch it, and I will watch it. It just I gotta sit down for 5 minutes to be able to watch it. So I do have a funny story that I made the chaplain on base this week laugh. back, and I've told this story before, so if you guys have heard it, you can tune out for a little bit. But years ago, back when I was a young corporal, I worked at the IG's office at Quantico, and my buddy, he sends a Marine looking for an ID-10T form. Now, everyone knows that joke. The joke is, yeah, you need an ID-10T form. Write it down. And they write it down, not realizing they just wrote idiot. And you're like, yeah, go see this guy for the ID-10T form. So he comes into my office and he's like, yeah, Corporal Hill sent me to you to get the ID-10T form. And I was like, he sent you to me? He knows I don't have those anymore. I had to give those up. I'm like, hold on. And I start going through my address book. And I'm like, sadly, I got to send you back down over to the battalion. And then I look up the room number. I'm like, okay, you got to go to room 18 at battalion. There's a lance corporal in there. De Jesus, de Jesus, whatever his name, like whatever the pronunciation is. I go, but go in there and tell them you're looking forward to Jesus. And he's like, okay. And he leaves. And like 15 minutes later, I get a call from the RP, which is the Navy. And I answer the phone and he's like, did you just send a Marine down here looking forward to Jesus? And I start laughing. I go, yeah, did he find him? He goes, the chaplain lost it. He is laughing hysterically. He's already been into the battalion commander to let him know what happened. He goes, they're all talking about it. That's hilarious. We've never heard it. So, yeah, I sent a Marine walking around to find a Jesus.
Wow. Calvinist. What is that, TC?
And based off of John
Explain.
Calvin, the Scottish philosopher.
Well, you can tell I've lived under a rock because I don't even know who that is.
Yeah, I love talking with people about their religions. Uh, and you know, here's the thing. I had an XO once who he was mad about someone who was like, "Oh, they're a crazy religion." Like my three, the S3 is your operations officer, and my S3, he had his degree in theology, and I talked to him. I was like, "How do you have your degree in theology?" He's like, "I was going to be a priest," and I was like, "And you instead became a Marine?" He's like, "Yep," which was hilarious because this guy banged everything that moved. Went from being a priest where he was going to be celibate to, oh, now he's going on spring break. And we were talking with the XO, and he was like, "Oh, that chick has these crazy religious beliefs." And I'm like, "Everyone's got a leap of faith. Every religion has a leap of faith." But and he was like, "Oh, I don't believe it." I'm like, "Look, I'm Catholic. If I go to church and I take the Eucharist, I have to believe I'm literally eating Jesus's body and drinking his blood." And he's like, "Really?" I'm like, "Yeah, that's what Catholics believe." And he's like, "That's crazy." I'm like, "It's a leap of faith. Every religion has one."
Brett, I will send you the link to Abundant Life and let y'all check that one out. I tried different ones online, but this one I feel at home.
I'll tell you the guy that I enjoyed was he's been dead for 2 years, I think now. Ravi Zacharias. He was Indian and he converted to being a Christian. Incredibly smart guy. He taught at Oxford. He taught at I believe it was Yale here in the U.S. Um, and he taught philosophy, but he had his own ministry and he was great.
You want to talk
Yeah,
about going from one major extreme to another? After Dad passed away, I went down a very, very dark route, and I started messing with witchcraft. Oh,
yeah.
oh boy.
I you know, I'm here in California where all these people have all this weird stuff. Like, and it just makes me uncomfortable. I don't believe in the magic rocks.
No,
You'll
no, no,
never
no,
see a dream
no.
catcher anywhere in my home or my car. Like, no. Um, for me, if it's nothing that I believe in, I'm not gonna play it. I'm not gonna mess around with it. I understand people believe it, um, but yeah, no. I had a roommate. She made me sage our house one time. That's as close as I will go. And for me, that was like no different than burning incense. So I was like, okay, this is fine. I don't really believe it's going to cleanse anything.
I did. I believed it. But finding Brett and Therese and watching them, and there are a lot of reason I found God again.
Back when Eric was still coming on the show, I told him, I was like, look, you're trying to build an audience. You should do a daily prayer or a weekly prayer. I go, that'll pull you in viewers. People like that.
Mm-mm.
I'm not going to put out that I'm like this really religious guy. I'm actually more philosophical, and I really do enjoy talking about philosophy. That's why me and Dr. Kevin, we talk about philosophy all the time. And in fact, almost every time we see each other. um, but yeah, I love talking philosophy, but um, and I love coming at religion from that aspect. Um, I very much believe in a lot of natural law, but yeah, that's why I won't do like a weekly prayer. But if someone said, "Hey, I want to do a weekly prayer thing, can I publish it on Veteran Nation?" I would have no problem with it. If they wanted me to join in, I'd have no problem with it. I think that would be a good thing.
I have a problem with those certain Christians that judge and pass judgment onto people. They believe that you have to be this certain way or you're going to go to hell. If you do this,
Yeah,
you're going to hell. If you say this, you're going to hell. You can't fit into what they think.
I agree with
You
that, and I ran into that a lot with Catholics. There's that contingency, and I have that in my family, which I find it so funny because I've got family members who they'll do all this for the church and be like, "Well, you should be doing all this stuff," and it's like, but they're also homosexual, and it's like you're doing these things not because you like legitimately have the faith. You're doing it to as a look at me type of thing. It's more of a social look how involved I am because
right,
you won't acknowledge that your very public sins.
right. And it, a lot of them seem to forget that he chose all the outsiders, the
Mhm.
sinners, to spread his word. Uh, you're not perfect. There's only him that's perfect.
I did have one priest who I absolutely loved, and he was great. And we talked about a lot of different stuff. And the one day he said, "Look, I believe in heaven, I believe in hell, but as far as hell goes, he goes, Jesus's preaching. He said it is perfect, and I don't know if there's anyone in hell." And I was like, that's interesting.
I honestly think Earth is hell, but that's what's the beauty of all of us. We all have different thoughts and beliefs. Exactly, Brett and Therese. Find a church you thrive in.
Well,
Exactly.
this is part of the conversation we had with the chaplain. Like there are some like chaplains, being a chaplain is its own special calling because if someone comes to you and they're like, "Hey, I want to convert to this religion," they have to make it happen. And but there are some who are only there to evangelize. In fact, he was telling me that he had a rabbi chaplain who every night before you go to bed, there were a couple chaplains who would put a New Testament on his bed. And he is, we were talking like that's it's one thing to leave them one and just be like, "Hey, I think you should check it out," but to do it every night, that's yeah, that's where you're crossing a line.
I'm that younger generation. I find more joy through worship and through music than sitting in a church. listening to someone preach the Bible. I'm not learning anything about my religion by just sitting there, but being able to
Mhm,
dance to the song, to feel the rhythm in the song, to feel his love through those songs, that helps.
mhm.
I learn more through the music than I do through the actual word. That part, Sharon. That part.
See, yeah, I'm different. I judge everybody. I, I like sitting in public and just judging people. Um,
That's exactly how I feel, Ed. Earth is, in my opinion, hell. We live our lives through hell, and then we are given
I
the
kind of,
choice once we die to either get to go to heaven or be forever stuck here.
I kind of think of Jesus like how my buddy, how he kind of talked about the Queen of England once. He had to renounce his UK citizenship to get his TS clearance, and I was like, "Didn't that bother you?" He goes, "Oh no, no, no. I just signed the form." I'm like, "So you don't really believe it?" He goes, "Doesn't matter if I believe it or not." He goes, "The Queen will never deny her subjects." And I was like, "What does that mean?" He goes, "I can renounce my citizenship every day for a year." And he goes, "But if I get into a place where I need a UK passport," he goes, "the Queen will never deny me. I can deny her. She cannot deny me. That's the way it works." And I was like, "Oh, that's pretty interesting," because I didn't know that. But I kind of
Hmm.
look at Jesus's teaching as like we can be the worst sinners ever. I don't think he'll ever deny us, even if we reject
No,
him. Just even after we die, waiting for the day for us to accept him.
I have turned my back so many times on God, but every time I ask Him to forgive me, I can feel Him. Christianity isn't what we were all brainwashed to believe it is. It's love and positivity and believing in the higher power.
Hmm. Rabbi Jason Sobel. The name sounds familiar. Is Let me ask you this: is he a messianic rabbi? Because people don't understand this. There are messianic temples out there. They are Jews who believe in Jesus, that he is uh, the Messiah. They're still Jewish. They keep all the Jewish traditions. Um, but yeah, they do not believe he was a prophet. They believe he was the Messiah. I've got a messianic temple near me, and I do want to go.
Rabbit Farmer said, "With all the dirty things on my mind, I doubt I will ever be let into heaven. Even hell will probably make some special arrangements for me." Listen, let's talk about a dirty mind. I have a very dirty mind. But
I'm
God,
sure when
but
I'm judged and they're
Jesus
showing
loves
up
us
all my sins,
regardless.
when they're showing me all my sins, I'll probably be like, "Oh, that one was hilarious. That was a great one." And that's the thing. Like, we were talking mental health. Religion can be a big help for mental health. Oh, he helped with the making. Okay, that's probably okay. That's probably where I I haven't watched The Chosen, but I did start watching Martin Scorsese's The Saints, and he's talking about various saints through history, and that was pretty interesting. There was some stuff I didn't know about several. He takes the more popular ones though.
You and them damn buttons.
Oh, you hate the heat? Yeah, I was down the hill yesterday and it was in the 90s, and then I had to come back up here where it was 100. And if you don't think there's a difference, oh, there's a difference. You feel it. I will say this, I do agree with the dry heat better than the humidity that I had back on the East Coast. You can escape the heat in a dry heat.
You can't escape the humidity. It's forever.
Just sitting like if you have like a high ceiling and you're sitting in the shade, the dry heat does not mess with you. Rabbi Jason hosts a trip to Israel Trees one. Oh, that's cool.
Oh,
I want to
cool.
do. There's a cruise that goes to the ancient. It says the ancient wonders, but you start in Greece and Athens. It visits Rhodes. It visits Istanbul, visits Israel, and then finishes in Alexandria. And me and my son have talked about taking that cruise um, because there's two things on it. The one that he wants to do is they actually take you on a special tour of the pyramids, which I think that would be cool, and that's what my son wanted. The one I wanted is when you go to Israel, there was a couple different excursions, but the one takes you to the Jordan River to get baptized, and I think that would be really cool to do. Breathing in high humidity sucks. Yes. It really does. But it can also keep you from getting sick.
I beg to
And
differ.
oh, see, like if I start getting sick here, I'll just put in a humidifier and I'll start gagging up all the crap. And
Mhm.
after like a day or two, I'm good.
So, like here in Tennessee, it's so humid outside that indoors, or at least in my house, it gets so dry that I can't breathe.
Mhm.
So, if it wasn't for the humidifier inside, I'd be screwed either way.
Um, we've got 100 people watching on X.
Wow.
Thank you all for being
This
here.
this this must have been a topic people actually wanted to hear. But that's why I'm so heavy on pushing the love and positivity on mine and Coop's show, the welcoming people with open arms, no matter what walk of life they came from.
Mhm.
Even even the viewers of the fleas that show up in our chats now. You show love, you receive love.
Rabbi Farmer says the Jordan River is where everyone upstream takes a poop and they drink from the water. I wouldn't drink from the water, but honestly, that's true of every river in America too. Every single river.
Oh, just wait, you two. We're not even in the middle of summer yet. I would rather be in Florida. I grew up here. I know. Just wait.
I so there are some things happening, and if they go through, everyone knows I'm looking to make my escape from California. Um, I actually love Brett and Teresa's place. That I really enjoy watching their videos. I like that they're near the lake, that they've got like woods near them. Uh, I might I might look at buying some property, and
Yes, do.
I've been
Please
watching.
do.
Well, I've
The
been
two of
watching.
us together.
Well, you know where I'm thinking. Well, okay, so I'm thinking I might reestablish some residency in Ohio, but I'm thinking I might build an off-grid cabin in like West Virginia or Kentucky. Like I want it up in the hills.
Kentucky's beautiful. I personally wouldn't want to live in Kentucky, but I have my own weird reasons.
Well, it would be my little escape. It wouldn't be where I live.
Right. I think Brett and Therese have the most beautiful view of our lake here. where it just like peeks to the trees. It's so gorgeous.
I like watching them do their DIY stuff. I know you do as well.
I am seeing names in your chat I have never seen in your chat. I've been modding for you for almost a year now.
Yeah, welcome, Untrackable. Untrackable's been here. Granny Smith's been here. Good morning.
I
Crazy about
know
a
Granny
Good
Smith.
morning. West Virginia gets very cold. Yeah, okay. I went to school in Michigan, and I had to do hikes like at 4 a.m. in a Michigan winter. That sucked, and that was cold.
Well, that's a good thing, right, Joan?
Good morning, Mary. I didn't say good morning to Rabid Farmer. I did acknowledge him. If any of you guys, if I forgot to say good morning,
Rabbit did ask who I was, but me and you were pretty deep in the conversation. Would you leave my dragon alone?
Georgie
I got
has
a
her
cat
own
trying to
channel,
go through
Georgie's Life
glass.
Unfiltered. Georgie, what's your OnlyFans page?
That doesn't exist anymore. I'm being serious. I thought I told you.
No.
Listen, I did some pretty messed up shit when I was in my dark space after Dad passed. And I'm trying everything in the world right now not to go back into that dark space.
I'll do things. I'll probably stay near a military base, buck naked, only because I have skills that are needed on bases. For example, I am with my safety stuff. I will probably go through my company, which is a federal contracting company, and work as a safety consultant because I've got my OSHA 30, OSHA 40, EM 385, which is Army Corps of Engineers manual training, and also fall safety certification. And I might go back for more certifications.
Rabid farmer. I don't have an OnlyFans. I used to.
Or only feet page.
I'm not ashamed of my past. I made mistakes, and they made me who I am.
I still want to find Kendra's OnlyFans. So if anyone has that, email. Does Lips officially have one? I know it's been rumored.
I don't want to know.
Oh, I want to know.
Of course you do. Ew. Blech.
Yeah, I just want someplace near the water. I don't have to be on the water. I like being near the water. But yeah. I've even thought about buying. So talking about Ohio, uh, I've talked to my family about us buying property down near Hocking Hills to use simply as a wedding venue.
No, Rabbit, you're good. I giggled.
Joan, I've spent a lot of time in Minnesota. Beautiful country. Yeah, beautiful country. I don't know if I'd live there. It's not bad. I just don't know if I'd live there. I would consider a cabin in Minnesota.
Is it bad? The furthest I've ever been away from home was Missouri.
No, that's most Americans.
I've never traveled, which I've been stuck in the same
I do want to
place
get to
for
all
my
50
whole life.
states. I've been, I think, to 38.
Lucky. I was I'm supposed to go to Washington in November, but with the way my best friend's acting lately, I don't know how I feel about going to Seattle right now.
Seattle's it's decent. I went to Seattle. I'm going up there in August, but more to Forks. I'll fly into Seattle. I won't stay in downtown Seattle. There's too many crazies.
Look, me and my best friend are the epitome of proof that it doesn't matter what side of the aisle you are on. You can agree to disagree and still be best friends. Like, my best friend is far left. She's been attending said riots that we've been discussing.
I will.
But what's funny is I actually converted her this election season, and she actually voted for Trump, and now she's protesting him.
I was.
Like, what?
I was told I got to give a shout out to a guy who watches the show, but never comments. Logan Strope. So thank you for watching, Logan. I do appreciate it. Yeah, for me, I don't care what someone's political leanings. I can be friends with them.
Mm-hmm. I mean, look at us with TC.
I
Our little weirdo.
I live in California. There's a lot of crazy lefties I'm friends with. There's a lot of crazy righties I'm friends with.
Yeah. I'm the problem, it's me. Me either. Me either. I could never live in a blue state.
With the exception of Virginia, most states I've lived in were blue, and then when I leave, they turn red.
So is that what we're crossing our fingers for? That when you leave California, it turns completely red?
There's some people saying that if they get rid of all the illegals, California will turn red. There's a reason why they give illegals driver's licenses here. Because what do they ask for when you vote here? Your driver's license. And if you don't think it's going on,
got his attention. No. He's like Beetlejuice. You say his name and he pops up.
Right? Okay, Joan. Well, you have a great day. Well, I don't blame you, Brett. I don't blame you. Like, especially when they're really far left. Like here in California, $4.11 is what the gas is, and it's gonna go up. They just passed a new gas tax, and it goes into effect next month. They're insane here, absolutely insane.
Well, thank you, Rabbit.
Yeah, thank you, Rabbit. Appreciate you doing that. Make sure so in the description is my change.org petition to keep veterans Second Amendment rights because the VA is trying to take away their guns. So if you would please sign and share that. Yeah, those night shifts.
Love is love. It is. I don't miss night shift at all. I was a full-time clerk at a restaurant, and 9 times out of 10, I would never get home until daylight.
I got a tree on my house.
Absolutely, it is, Brett. California has a $12 billion deficit. And as much as they're like, oh, well, our GDP, like, we'd be the 4th biggest one in the world. Okay, whatever. California does not have enough water to sustain itself, and it doesn't manage its money or resources well. Everyone should own a gun. Especially women. The only thing I tell women is, first off, practice with it, get comfortable with it, and don't keep it in your purse because that's where kids tend to find them, going into mom's purse. And if you are attacked, what are they attacking you for? Most times it's going to be your purse, and you don't want your gun in there.
Wow. Kev Jackson it says hello from Vietnam.
Where are you at in Vietnam, Kev? Now, I have not traveled to Vietnam, but all my friends, I travel internationally. All my friends who travel internationally have all told me there's two places I need to go: Nepal and Vietnam. And they say Vietnam because it's incredibly cheap.
TC, make me.
They can't give you water and a fire, but they can put up gas and oh, absolutely. There's starting to be some really good gun rulings from the courts, though. Like they're really starting to take guns seriously. The Fifth Circuit issued a thing in February where they said suppressors were not covered under the Second Amendment, and they actually did something very rare. They withdrew that decision because the plaintiff he was asking for an en banc review in the Fifth Circuit, and the three-judge panel said, "You know what? We're gonna relook at this." So they rescinded their decision, and they're relooking at it. And yeah, they're going to find that suppressors are 100% covered by the Second Amendment, and if it's like, duh, of course they are. You're in Hanoi. So a buddy or my business partner has a buddy of his that works in Hanoi and wants us to visit. I really want to go to Vietnam. I really do. And one of the companies that we work with, they're Chinese and Vietnamese, but because of a lot of the problems in China, they're moving everything to Vietnam right now. So I probably will visit Vietnam. But I've heard you can get a suite for like the price that we get like a regular hotel room. North Carolina just voted down concealed carry permits. Well, I hope we get nationwide concealed carry reciprocity. I'm trying to encourage a friend of mine into becoming. I'm trying to encourage him to run for sheriff of Riverside County because the sheriff of Riverside County wants to run for governor. He wants to be the Republican nominee for governor. And so if my buddy runs for sheriff, I told him, here's what he should do. If you become the sheriff, you create reserve deputies. Anybody can become a reserve deputy. They pay $100. They take training, and now they're a reserve deputy. And if there's ever a natural disaster or anything, you put the word out, hey, we need reserve deputies. If you guys can come, you'll get paid for your time, stuff like that. But what that does is if you have a badge and you're a reserve deputy, that qualifies you for LEOSA, which means you can concealed carry in all 50 states because now you are considered law enforcement. Hidden fees about Florida. Very few know about impact fees on vehicle registration. Fuel tax is high. Sales tax is high. Everyone thinks no income tax, which is true, but they ignore the other taxes. Oh, yeah. Federal state can't force reciprocity on the individual states. Well, it would be under the Commerce Clause. VA is so close to losing Second Amendment in the state if conservatives sit out voting because they do not like mean tweets. The problem is the courts are now heavily on the side of gun rights. And for years there were no gun court cases because there was one judge in Massachusetts who he got like an insurance case, but he in his mind decided that, oh, this is a gun case. So whenever there would be a new gun lawsuit, he would come in and say, this is related to this. And federal judges can do this. And we saw this with Jeremy Hales. Fed case 1, and then they did Fed case 2, and the judge said, oh, this is related. I need to take that case. So this one judge was taking all the gun cases and then just dismissing them. And, that happened for like 10 years. And then I want to say in like 2004, he died or retired. And that's why we're seeing all these gun cases now, and they're making their way to the Supreme Court finally. I agree with you, Rabbit Farmer. I totally agree with you.
Yep.
John Cornyn is out of Texas. He's gonna get primaried, and he's gonna lose because he went against guns. And yeah, there are rhinos like that, but they're losing power.
I honestly think we need to go in and remove anyone that's been there for 20, 30, 40 freaking years.
I agree with you, but I don't agree with term limits. I think term limits they create more problems than they solve.
I think it just needs a fresher look on things, a younger generation or something, anything but these lunatics that we've got now.
We definitely need judicial reform. Our courts need reform. Absolutely. It's never been reformed, and we need to. And you're seeing
I was referring to the houses and the senates. They need to be wiped out and new people come in.
Yes, I mean, people should vote out if someone's been a politician for 40 some years. Yeah, you should vote them out. But
politics should not be a career.
Rather than do that, a lot of people are like, "Oh, we need term limits." Well, the problem with term limits is now you've rigged the game.
Right. Government needs to go back to the basics of what it was founded on.
Are you guys doing a stream today?
Yes.
Oh, there it is. Okay.
Every day,
I'm
11
redirecting
a.m.
you there.
Eastern Standard Time. Are you hanging out with us today?
I can, but I'm probably gonna shower before I come in there because I got to drive to LA today, and
Oh yeah, that's right.
yeah, so I might be. You never know with the traffic there, so I could be leaving the house at 9. So I'll go get ready, be ready, and then the one guy I'm going with, if he texts me and says, "Okay, I'm ready," I'll just leave.
I agree, Brett. He said, "I don't believe judges should have lifetime appointments, make them run again to keep their seats."
I can agree with that, or give them like a consecutive term limit. Like judges should have, like federal judges should have terms, and you do 3 terms, and then you have to at least sit one out, and you can be reappointed. I'd have no problem with that. Okay, just me. That's fine. Which, by the way, good morning, just me. I have no problem with
I
that.
end up sounding like TC
TC?
here for a second. How am I going to word it?
What are you going to do?
Hang on. My brain's trying to boot up and figure out how I want to say it.
Good morning, James. Changing the players.
Basically what I said Saturday. We as a people, not just left versus right, but united, need to remind those in government, whether it be state or federal, who put them there and who they work for.
You ever seen a grown man naked?
See, I say it nicely though, unlike TC.
So I keep talking with this one group. They've been on the show, Veteran Hope, and they do they're trying to help veterans and military with divorce. And I got to do the video. I want to talk about how so many of these places that offer veteran legal help, they're just predatory. They don't actually offer legal help. All they do is they offer to help you get your disability claim. They'll help you with that because there's money in it. But if you ask for help with divorce or any other type of legal thing, they're not helping you. No, we don't do that. And it's like, well, that's where veterans, especially with divorce, it's probably the most common stressor in a veteran's life. Okay.
All right, guys, I'm gonna head over and get ready for Mana Coop's show. So, see y'all over there. Thank you for having me on, Bestie.
I'll redirect to you guys.
All right, bye, guys.
I didn't see you in here, Coop. I'm just now seeing you. Good morning. If you send me the link, I'll jump in there after I get my shower. Skipper's got to be a clean boy. Georgie.
Would you like to know the probability of her using it against you?
Yeah, today is Juneteenth. The base is, for the most part, shut down. It was super locked down this week, and apparently they found on another, I don't know if it was a Marine Corps installation, but another military installation, they found a Chinese national in a restricted area. And that's why. I do not believe anyone political should not have immunity from bad acts. I do. I agree with that. However, I do agree with the immunity of if you're talking about things on the floor of Congress. That I do believe in. Because we want open debate on the floors of our legislatures. Oh, that's absolutely true, James. Divorce is where the courts violate the SCARA. I'm trying to think of the name. The Service Members something Relief Act. Next week, Ed. I still have to figure out all the details of my trip. And it's funny because I'll be meeting up with Marines while I'm there. It's officially a business trip. How far away is Jacksonville from Otter Creek? Someone said it was 2 hours. I don't know if that's true. You know what still messes with me? The fact that Central Florida is considered South Florida. They will talk about Tampa being South Florida. And I'm like, there's a lot of state south of it, but they consider that northern Cuba. To me, I would be yeah, the Keys, that's South Florida. 2 hours? Okay, yeah. See, I'm probably not going to get to Otter Creek, at least this trip. Two and a half? Yeah, that sounds about right. But yeah, so I'll be in Florida, be doing some business. You're in Jacksonville? Well, that's where I'll be going. I will be in town for at least a day, most likely two. I'm getting a bit frustrated because it's not my call on some of the stuff. That's what I've heard. They call it South Florida because it's where the American South kind of ends. And once you get to Miami and whatnot, it's totally different. South Florida starts at West Palm Beach. Well, I remember I flew into, was it Tampa? And it was Southwest Florida Regional Airport. And I was like, but it's not South. And that's okay, mismatched. Central Florida is not South Florida. No, but that's what they like. What to me is Central Florida, they were referring to as South Florida, like Tampa area. And I was like, this is Central. It's not South. Should be illegal, damn it. I'm gonna pull up Georgie and Coop show. I'll go live until they do their thing. Oh, just Jay's doing a members only. I was gifted a membership. I'll have to check that out. Not right now, obviously. There, I got Georgie and Coop show up. So when they go live, I'll be able to redirect immediately. That's what there were people calling Tampa, South Florida, their whole airport. Yeah, Orlando's definitely Central Florida. When I worked for the football team, we played Central Florida, and we played at the Citrus Bowl. That was pretty cool. I believe that stadium's gone now. I know Central Florida built their own stadium. They were a good team. When they were there, that's when they had a deaf running back. Just what they call it, Brett. I agree with you. I'm like, this is Central Florida. Can we go to Gainesville? How do we get to Gainesville? How do I get to Gainesville from Gainesville? So I still haven't watched Brett and Teresa's live yesterday. I did catch Jeremy's while I was driving yesterday, but I was admittedly doing other stuff. So they didn't show for court, so it got continued. Is my understanding. Am I correct about that? About the thumbnail case and the other cases Stark didn't show. Do I have that right? Because I'll admittedly I was driving. I wasn't I was listening to it. I was not paying the closest attention. Yeah, I was dealing with California drivers. Okay, University of Florida, South Florida has stuff in Tampa. Yeah, actually, I thought South Florida University. I thought was near Tampa. Continued but not scheduled yet. Okay. We don't like Gainesville, typical college town, rude people and crowded. There are some college towns I liked the people. I'll tell you, Blacksburg was nice. I know you're a Virginia Tech fan, or at least, right? Blacksburg, Virginia was really nice. Morgantown, West Virginia was insane. It was insane. I love college football. When I lived in Virginia, I went to so many different college football games. It was like every weekend, me and my roommate, we would just hop in the car and we'd be like, what's a good game this week? And we would just drive to these college towns. Sometimes we'd go to the game, sometimes we'd just stand outside and tailgate. I have been to East Lansing. In fact, we played Central Michigan every year, and we'd have to go to Mount Pleasant. And most times they would put us in East Lansing to stay. Just because there were so many hotels that were used to accommodating football teams, because obviously East Lansing is where Michigan State is. East Lansing, I had fun in. It's a party place. Um, Huntington, West Virginia is home to Marshall Skipper, a totally different mentality than Morgantown, but becoming ultra liberal. I've been to Huntington, West Virginia. At the University of Toledo, we played Marshall back when Randy Moss and Chad Pennington were there. And yeah, those fans can just go F themselves. It's getting liberal. That is the only college campus that I went to where there was literally a dead deer on someone's hood in campus parking. So clearly, someone who went hiking or went hunting before they went to class. I don't get a negative college town vibe in Knoxville. Now, we haven't spent much time there, but that's our initial assessment. Okay. I've been through Knoxville, seen the stadium. I've never seen a game there. I would like to, though. Uh, Morgantown has more of a leaning to the thinking of DC. Yeah, you will sometimes find that. Like, probably one of the most liberal colleges is Oberlin, which is right in the middle of rural Ohio, and those people are insane. Absolutely, like the students and the faculty there are just totally batshit crazy. In no universe does that sound fun. Uh, um, yeah, I'm trying to think what are other good places that we traveled to. Whew. W- I was unlucky by we didn't come to the West Coast at all in the 4 years I was there. We stayed strictly on the East Coast. We did play and we beat Penn State in Happy Valley. That was that was interesting. Um, the fans were surprisingly nice to us, which didn't always happen. Um, and they were still nice after we beat them. From what I understand, the culture has changed a little bit. I don't know that for a fact because, like, I had people that were like, "Stop me!" They're like, "Where is Toledo?" I'm like, "It's Northwest Ohio. It's almost Michigan." And they were like, "Oh, okay." And I'm like, "Yeah, so that's where Toledo is." And I was like, "Historically, we're actually um, a very good team. Whether or not we're going to be good every year. This next year, Toledo's going to be really good. In fact, they're a lot of people are picking them as the minor team to make the playoffs. They're Everyone's picking them to win the Mid American Conference, uh, which they're normally Toledo's normally in the hunt to take the Mid American Conference. We actually have the second longest win streak of any college football team. Number one is Oklahoma with 51 games. Toledo has 36. And then there's like Ohio State, Miami, and then there's one other team, I forget who it is, with 35. So Toledo had a span from 1967 to 1970 where they did not lose a game. Yeah, I totally agree with you, Brett. I enjoy college football. I'll go to games even if my team's not playing. In fact, I believe Michigan's coming out here to play um, USC, and I want to go to that game. Pennington's son is the backup quarterback at Marshall. I will say this: as much as I hated the fans at Marshall because they were just dicks, they do have a very rabid fan base, and for that, it's a good culture. It was interesting because the rest of the MAC kind of stopped selling alcohol at their games because they didn't want problems with fans. Yeah, Marshall, they were selling alcohol, and like we had to deal with very drunk fans, and they beat us. And it was like, why? Like they were still antagonistic after the game. Like they attacked our band's bus. Who attacks the band? And it was like, why? Why would you do that? Like that just doesn't even make sense. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, Brett. Um, like I grew up an Ohio State fan, an Ohio State and Michigan. That I don't know if you can get more hate than that game. But um I've always been against the fans who try to start fights and stuff. Win or lose. Win or lose. Um, Ohio State, they used to have a problem of the students rioting after the game. And again, I don't agree with that. Morgantown has that problem. Morgan, uh, West Virginia has a big game. They're dragging couches out into the road just to light them on fire. Yeah, you can talk smack, but yeah, be respectful. TC, you're not a Gopher fan? There are some fan bases. It's like, why are you so antagonistic? Like, you guys are not good enough to be antagonistic, you know? I mean, I had fun in Morgantown. I loved Morgantown. Being a Marine in Morgantown, yeah, met some very good looking ladies. The Governor's Trophy game has more hate. What's the Governor's Trophy? Is that used couches are premium in Morgantown? That is true. 100% true. And like, I don't like the rioting. I did find it funny. Like the fans there, like no one treated me bad in Morgantown. They weren't. They were very into their team. And I would absolutely go back again. I the only thing that I'll tell you one game that I oh Michigan State. No, it doesn't have more hate than Ohio State Michigan. No way. No way. I went to Eastern Michigan and I was attached to Michigan's Naval ROTC. Yeah. Michigan like Michigan State might have the hate. And that's where Michigan State and Ohio State fans bond is they both hate Michigan, but Michigan does not have the hate for Michigan State that Ohio State does. So many universities are one dimensional, but they might be good at football, but that's it. Very true. I don't disagree with you, TC. Okay, someone banned Granny Smith. No, I'm joking. I I'll say this, like Toledo is my number one team. Having worked with the team, like I love Toledo. I love the Rockets. I'm still an Ohio State fan. If Ohio State loses, I can still like people can still talk to me and I'm fine. My brothers, if Ohio State loses, I don't call them, I don't text them. I just it's not worth it. Tennessee's well rounded. Football kind of went down for a bit, but they're back. But baseball, yeah, baseball they've always been there, and they're not bad in basketball either. Um, I'm shocked there's not better football teams in New England. If you're a good football player in New England, you normally go to Penn State, Notre Dame. Mm, Rutgers is starting to get better, but that was about it. I'm shocked it's just not, it just hasn't gotten bigger. Like back in the day, Harvard and Princeton, but those have gotten too hard to get into for athletes. I'll still watch NASCAR. I used to be a much bigger fan. I used to watch everything. Uh, but they made a lot of changes that I don't think were great for NASCAR. I don't like the segments. Um, yeah, like there's stuff that they like. I'm okay with the playoff, but yeah, but I used to cover a lot when I was writing sports stuff. I was covering a lot of NASCAR, and if I do take Veteran Nation, if I get a van and take this on the road, um, I'll probably get back into covering more sports. Yeah, Tennessee needs to keep beating Alabama. That used to be such a great rivalry, and then it fell off for a long time just because Alabama got so good. Um, but yeah, Tennessee needs to. Yeah, that happens, John. Um, yeah, it was funny because like my one buddy, he was talking about he lived in Columbus, Ohio, and he's from Kansas City, And there they have the Civil War, which is Kansas and Missouri, and they do not like each other. Um, and what's funny is he's had friends say that, that's the biggest rivalry. And he was like, dude, he goes, I'm just going to tell you, you've never seen, you need to go see Ohio State, Michigan. He's like, and people don't understand it, and I get it. The Ohio State and Michigan, those two teams, they could lose every game, but if they win that game, they're perfectly happy. That is how deep the hatred goes. Well, yeah, you definitely find that, TC. Yep. So my favorite sport will always be college football, but I still love Tigers baseball. I'm a Detroit Tigers fan through and through. I was 5 years old when they won the World Series, and that just left a mark on me. And I've talked about this on the show. One of my best memories was my grandpa would always be out working on his truck, listening to Ernie Harwell call the game. And my grandpa, he knew a lot of like Tigers Hall of Famers because he was a police officer, and when they would come through and play for the Toledo Mud Hens, he did the security. So he got to know like Denny McLean and a couple like Al Kaline, got to know them really well. I'll disagree with you on that, Brett. Now, SEC, they're they're good in football. The problem with the SEC is, and a lot of them do this, they'll play chump teams. Like, I don't think if you're in the SEC, you should never play the Citadel. Like, that's my problem with the SEC. Stop playing like, and they'll be like, well, Ohio State will play Akron. I'm like, yeah, but Akron is a football bowl series. The Citadel is not. I think if you're in a major conference, you should not. You should only be allowed to play an FCS team once every 3 years, and that should be it. Because what you're doing, and Alabama is notorious for this. Notorious. Alabama will schedule one of these cupcake teams right before they play Tennessee or Alabama. So pretty much they're getting a bye week. All their players get to rest. Their top players get to rest and get healthy before they play their rival. That is complete and total bullshit. Complete and total bullshit. And Alabama is the worst offender. There are others. I've seen LSU do it. I've never seen Tennessee do it. LSU, Florida's done it. I'm trying to think who else, but I think that's a major, like, to me, that's a problem with. Uh, oh, they're live. Um, so I'm going to go ahead and end this, and you guys are going to go over to Coop and Georgie, and I'll probably end up joining them. So thank you guys for being here. I'm going to go ahead and end this up, and as always, thank you for being worth serving.